Libra, you know it's time to leave. Even if it hurts, even if it breaks your heart a little, this is your moment to walk away. You didn't click this video by accident. You were guided here by something larger than logic. Maybe by a whisper in your dreams, a strange conversation you overheard, or just a quiet pressure in your chest that's been building day after day. But one thing is certain, the universe is calling you to move forward. And Libra, if you're honest with yourself, haven't you been feeling it? That restlessness. That growing tension between where you are and where your soul knows it needs to be. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a version of yourself that no longer fits the life you're meant to live. You've outgrown something, and staying in it any longer isn't kindness, it's resistance. This isn't just a horoscope. This is a transformational reading designed for your sign, here and now, as the energy of early November begins to activate one of the most powerful portals of release you've had in years. Today, I'm going to walk you through a 7-part cosmic journey combining astrology, tarot, energy healing, self-help tools, divine timing, sacred numerology, and spiritual alignment to help you understand what's leaving, what's arriving, and how to finally cross that invisible threshold into the life you were born to live. Because the truth is, you're not being pushed out, you're being pulled towards something greater. Libra, I want you to take a deep breath. Really. Just one honest breath. Now tell me. Do you feel like the world you've been holding on to is still holding you back? There's no shame in outgrowing people, places, or promises. There's only power in noticing it. You're not walking away from your life, you're walking into your light. You're not abandoning your past, you're answering your calling. Here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot, I don't just deliver predictions, I offer spiritual blueprints, energetic activation, and emotional clarity for those who are truly ready to align with their divine path. And Libra, that path starts with one powerful choice: to stop ignoring the signs and start moving in faith. And if faith feels too big right now, let me offer you this instead: trust. Just a thread of it. Trust that your presence here matters. Trust that you are being supported. Trust that you're not alone in this moment of letting go. Because you're not. Not spiritually. Not energetically. Not emotionally. In fact, by simply being here, you've already taken your first brave step forward. So before we continue, before we dive into the revelations this reading has for you, I want to ask you to make that energy official. Let the universe hear you. Comment below, I am ready to walk away. I trust where I'm being led. Your words carry energy. And your energy is what opens doors. And let me take just a moment to thank you from the deepest part of my heart for showing up. For your time, your presence, your likes, your shares, and your beautiful comments. Every action you take brings you deeper into the sacred circle of our spiritual family here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. You are not just a viewer. You are a part of something sacred. And trust me, Libra, you'll want to stay with me until the very last second of today's message. Because what the universe is about to reveal, it's not just guidance, it's breakthrough. And now I ask you, my beautiful Libra soul, what part of you finally drew you here today? There's a quiet moment in every Libra's life where balance begins to feel more like burden than beauty. It's not loud or dramatic, it's a soft, persistent ache. A tightening in the chest. A knowing glance at a life that looks fine on the outside but no longer feels right inside. That's where you are now. And that's why this moment matters. You see, Libra, staying too long in a place that no longer nourishes you doesn't make you loyal, it makes you invisible to your own needs. You've spent a lifetime trying to hold the peace, to smooth the tension, to keep everyone else comfortable. But somewhere along the way, your own voice, the most sacred compass you have, grew quiet beneath the weight of keeping the scales balanced for others. This is where the deeper meaning of the Six of Swords enters. This card doesn't shout at you to escape. It doesn't glamorize a bold leap. It whispers, you deserve peace, too. It reminds you that there comes a point when choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's sacred. The boat you step into may not have a map. The waters ahead may be unclear. But what lies behind you? That's the chaos you've already survived. And you don't have to live there anymore. Letting go isn't always about cutting cords in anger or slamming doors shut. Sometimes, it's just the quiet closing of a chapter, the soft walk away from a life that asked you to shrink. Sometimes, the bravest thing you'll ever do is leave without a final explanation, without needing everyone to understand. Because deep down, you understand, and that's enough. I know letting go can feel like betrayal. Especially for someone like you, who has built so much of your identity on being dependable, gracious, and kind. But ask yourself, when did that kindness begin to cost you your clarity? When did peacekeeping become soul silencing? The truth is, even the most compassionate hearts must learn the sacred art of departure. Jesus himself, in his earthly journey, withdrew from the crowds when his spirit needed solitude. He walked away from cities when his purpose moved elsewhere. He listened not to the noise of the world but to the direction of something higher, something deeply internal. And that same guidance lives in you. You may not have all the answers right now. That's okay. You may not know where the next step leads. That's still okay. What matters is that you've paused long enough to feel the shift. What matters is that your soul has started asking questions. And every question is an invitation to return home to yourself. Remember, Libra, you are not meant to suffer in silence. You are not required to carry the weight of everyone else's expectations. Peace is not just something you offer, it's something you deserve. And no amount of external harmony can replace the internal quiet that comes from choosing what's right for you. So if your life has felt like a beautiful room slowly filling with smoke, don't wait until you can't breathe. Walk out. Even if your voice trembles. Even if your legs shake. The universe is not asking for perfection. It's asking for movement. This is not the end. It's the sacred in-between. And this time, you're not walking away from something, you're walking towards someone. You. Take your time. But don't wait forever. The boat is waiting, Libra. And peace, real Perseus, just on the other shore. Sometimes what looks like chaos is actually divine construction in disguise. When the tower appears, it rarely comes quietly, and yet, for someone like you, Libra, who craves harmony and avoids sudden change, this moment may feel like the universe is being too loud, too abrupt, too cruel. But the truth is, it's being incredibly loving. Because sometimes the only way the universe can get your attention is to let everything fall down that you were never meant to build your life on in the first place. You might be looking around right now and seeing pieces of your reality no longer holding together, relationships that feel unstable, roles you used to cherish that now feel hollow, beliefs you once clung to that are now slipping through your fingers. That isn't failure. That's the frequency shifting. That's your soul outgrowing a container that's grown too small. This is why the tower isn't just about destruction, it's about release. What's collapsing isn't who you are, it's what you've outgrown pretending to be. You see, the tower comes when we've built parts of our identity, our choices, or our future on shaky ground in fear, people-pleasing, assumptions, or emotional survival. And while those things may have once kept you safe, they can't take you to the next chapter. Astrologically, we often see tower energy during hard Pluto transits or Uranian activations, those moments that disrupt the predictable, challenge the comfortable, and insist on freedom. Not the shallow kind of freedom, but the kind that's earned by facing what's real. And Libra, you're not just facing it, no, you're walking through it with more wisdom than you've ever had. I know you may be tempted to hold on a little longer, to try and fix it, to stay in the name of being understanding, gracious, or fair. But let me remind you gently, healing doesn't always mean repairing. Sometimes it means releasing. And peace doesn't always look like compromise. Sometimes peace is choosing not to betray yourself anymore just to keep the story familiar. You may not realize it now, but this unraveling is sacred. This is how you make space for the life that fits. This is how false security falls away so true alignment can arrive. The pain you feel? It's not punishment. It's an indication that your soul is moving towards something truer, and yes, it hurts to shed the layers that once kept you warm but now suffocate your light. From a soul growth perspective, these tower moments are moments of grace. And if you're someone who's walked with God before, or even just whispered prayers into the silence, you'll know that sometimes His answers don't come as whispers. Sometimes they come as storms that leave you with nothing but truth and faith. And in that emptiness, something beautiful begins: surrender. Because when everything breaks, you finally have room to choose differently. Libra, what if what's falling apart was never meant to hold you? What if the collapse is the greatest mercy disguised as mess? What if you're not being broken, you're being broken open? It's okay to mourn what's gone. It's okay to feel grief, even for the versions of yourself that tried so hard to hold it all together. But please don't confuse this ending with loss. It's freedom. The kind that doesn't need permission or applause, just your willingness to say, I deserve something more aligned. Let yourself walk away, even if your knees are shaking. The structures you built from survival don't have to be the same ones you build your future on. You are being invited now not to save what's dead but to rise with what's alive inside of you. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment you finally stop fixing and start becoming. There are cosmic moments when the energy surrounding us becomes too loud to ignore, and Libra, this is one of them. You may have already noticed it in the small ways your patience is wearing thin, in the subtle discomfort when doing things that used to feel natural, or in the quiet resistance that's been growing in your chest each morning. These aren't random feelings. They're indicators that your soul is no longer willing to agree to the version of life you've been living. Astrologically, early November opens a rare and powerful portal, a convergence of planetary forces that push you toward a deeper reckoning with your truth. Pluto, the planet of transformation, joins hands with the Sun and Mercury in a way that activates your sector of closure, rebirth, and personal awakening. This is not about a sudden leap. It's a deep internal shift, as if life itself is whispering, "You can't keep living like this." What's being asked of you now isn't easy. When Mercury moves into Sagittarius, the philosopher of the zodiac, your thoughts become sharper, your vision wider. It's like your inner compass suddenly starts rejecting false direction. You begin to question the things you used to accept without hesitation. You wonder, not just what you're doing, but who you're becoming while doing it. This mental expansion can feel like a stretch, uncomfortable, even disorienting, but that's exactly what growth feels like when you've been settling. You might find yourself waking up with a sense of friction between the life you've built and the one that's trying to be born. That's not a sign something's wrong, it's a signal that something within you is finally waking up. If you've ever had a moment where you looked around and thought, "Why does this no longer feel like me?" you're already halfway through the door. And Libra, you don't need a crisis to validate your evolution. You just need clarity. And clarity is what this astrological alignment is handing you. This is what I call an energetic tipping point, a place in your journey where staying costs more than leaving. And while it may not come with dramatic endings or physical movement, the shift happens inside. It's the inner choice to stop pretending. It's the decision to no longer tolerate what dims your light. And sometimes, that means walking away from a version of yourself that was just trying to survive. When we talk about transformation, we often imagine something grand. But real change can look like stillness. It can sound like silence. It can feel like a single choice that no one else even notices except you. And that's enough. You don't owe anyone a performance. You owe yourself peace. For those of us who live our days trying to do what's right for everyone else, this moment feels like God's gentle tap on the shoulder, a reminder that you matter, too. That it's not selfish to say, "This no longer works for me." That your peace is not a luxury, it's a calling. And maybe that's all this moment is asking of you, to be honest. With yourself. With your path. With the part of you that can't fake it anymore. Because once you admit that truth, even in a whisper, the rest will begin to unfold. The road will begin to rise to meet you. You've already outgrown the life that once felt safe. And the universe isn't punishing you, it's making space for the next version of your becoming. So, if your heart has been aching for a shift, for something more aligned, this is your permission slip. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You just have to stop pretending you're okay where you are. And Libra, if you're asking those questions, it means you already know. There's something beautifully paradoxical about leaving. It often feels like loss, but it's actually space-making. Libra, you are not walking away to lose, you are walking away to invite. And that distinction changes everything. When you hold on to something that no longer resonates with your spirit, whether it's a relationship that drains you, a job that silences your creativity, or even a version of yourself that was built on survival, you block the very energy that's trying to reach you. You close the door to your own becoming. This is the essence of the Judgment card. Not a warning. Not a punishment. But a divine wake-up call. A trumpet in the soul that says, "You've stayed long enough. You've tolerated enough. You've dimmed your light for too long. And now, the moment has arrived to rise." What's most striking about this card is not the finality, it's the invitation to begin again, from a place of truth. It marks a rebirth, not because everything is perfect, but because you are ready to honor what is finally real. In energy work, we understand that whatever you release must be replaced. Nature doesn't allow voids to remain empty. What you let go of today will inevitably be filled, but it's your level of intention that determines what fills the space. If you release with guilt or fear, that energy lingers. But if you release with trust, grace, and conviction, you make space for what is divinely aligned to enter. And Libra, you are being asked to do just that, to let go from love, not from lack. I know it's hard. You've spent so long keeping the peace, maintaining appearances, trying to be everything for everyone. You may even wonder, what if I leave and nothing better comes? But let me gently remind you, miracles don't visit the spaces that are already full. They arrive when there's room. They enter when the door is cracked open by courage. And oftentimes, that courage looks exactly like you standing in your truth, trembling perhaps, but still choosing to walk away from what no longer blesses you. In astrology, this season marks an internal portal, a moment where your external life reflects back to you the misalignments you've been quietly carrying. The beauty is, you're no longer required to make sense of those imbalances. You're only required to respond. And your response doesn't need to be grand or loud. Sometimes it's as simple as whispering to yourself, "I'm ready to be free." Even in practical self-help work, we see how release is often the precursor to transformation. Think of the person who leaves a draining job and, within weeks, finds an opportunity they never imagined. Or someone who steps away from a stagnant relationship and suddenly begins attracting authentic, reciprocal love. These are not coincidences theory energetic equations. What you believe you're worthy of creates a magnetic field around you. The moment you act from that belief, the universe moves. So if you find yourself clinging to what's crumbling, pause. Ask yourself not, "What am I losing?" but "What am I making space for?" The truth is, letting go is not abandonment, it's alignment. You're not leaving someone behind, you're catching up with who you're becoming. And that version of you doesn't need to cling to old comfort. That version of you breathes easier in the unknown, because they know something truer is on the way. Let that be your quiet revolution, Libra, to release with reverence, to let go as an act of love. Because every ending you choose in integrity plants the seed for a beginning that can finally meet you where you are. You don't have to prove anything. Just allow yourself to be the vessel miracles can find. And remember, you never really lose anything when you choose yourself. You only return to everything that was meant for you. What begins as an internal whisper often becomes the loudest truth in your life. And Libra, this change you're navigating right now isn't just a surface adjustment. It's a total energetic release. You're not only shifting your direction, you're releasing timelines, belief systems, and karmic patterns that have looped through your experience for years, maybe even decades. This is more than a turning point. It's a sacred severing from cycles that kept you in places where you had to earn your worth or prove your peace. When change this profound enters your life, it doesn't arrive with explanations, it arrives with clarity. The type of clarity that makes it impossible to pretend anymore. You suddenly feel allergic to your own denial. What used to feel tolerable now feels tight. What you once excused now feels exhausting. That's not you becoming cynical, it's you awakening to the fact that your energy deserves to be invested in places that return it. In astrological language, this is the kind of deep release we associate with the completion of karmic contracts, those invisible soul agreements that hold you in certain dynamics until you've learned what you came to learn. And Libra, you've learned. You've stayed long enough. You've shown grace when it wasn't reciprocated. You've played roles in other people's stories that no longer reflect who you're becoming. And now, the universe is honoring your willingness to evolve by offering you a clean break if you're willing to take it. This is why so many people feel a wave of coincidences after major releases. New connections form instantly. Unexpected financial flow arrives. Opportunities once blocked suddenly find their way to your inbox. It's not magic, it's magnetism. When you stop anchoring yourself to people, patterns, or places that aren't rooted in truth, your natural frequency recalibrates. And that frequency becomes a homing signal for everything that's meant for you. This isn't just spiritual theory. It's energetic law. Even in the practical world of self-help and personal growth, we see the ripple effect of aligned decision-making. When you finally speak your truth, no longer people please, and choose peace over approval, the entire landscape around you begins to shift. You no longer need to chase clarity from others. You become it. And that kind of peace can't be faked. It doesn't require a defense. It simply radiates and it changes every room you walk into. And maybe you felt this too, that sense of being done explaining yourself. That subtle relief that comes with no longer needing validation for your evolution. Because once your peace becomes internal, external approval loses its hold. You no longer need to be understood in order to feel secure. That's the true gift of this shift. If you've ever doubted whether quiet change could lead to big blessings, I invite you to consider the moments in your life when you let go of something heavy and something better arrived without effort, without force. Just presence and alignment. These aren't just rare miracles. These are reminders that life responds to the energy of self-respect. When you walk away from what doesn't honor you, you send a signal that you're ready to receive what does. So if it feels like everything is leaving at once, or if you're standing in the space between no longer and not yet, know this, it's working. The detachment you feel isn't failure. It's freedom. And soon, the proof will speak for itself. Not through applause. Not through explanation. But through the quiet joy of being at peace without needing to earn it. That, Libra, is when life begins to open for you in ways you never imagined. And the best part? You won't need to convince anyone of it. Peace will do all the talking. Sometimes, the most powerful part of the journey is the moment you realize you're not doing it alone. And Libra, you aren't. Even if it feels like you're walking away from everything familiar, relationships, roles, places, or even parts of yourself, you are being guided every step of the way. When the call to move forward becomes undeniable, it is not just your own voice speaking. It is the quiet echo of generations before you, whose unfinished healing now finds its way through your courage. You are the one chosen to break cycles. And that is never a lonely task, even if it begins in silence. As we move through this stage of transformation, it's important to recognize that your ancestors, those whose dreams may have been dimmed by limitations, are now rooting for you. There are doors they couldn't open in their lifetimes, but they've passed you the keys. Their wisdom, their unfinished prayers, their hopes for freedom, it's all encoded in your spirit. You feel it every time you step away from what no longer serves you and towards something more aligned. That's not weakness, Libra. That's generational strength. And there's something else, those unexplained dreams, the inner nudges, the sudden clarity when you ask for signs. They are not coincidences. Whether you name them angels, higher self, or divine intelligence, there is something luminous guiding you forward. You were never meant to do this in isolation. The more you listen, the more these quiet forces respond. They don't always come with booming revelations or perfect timing. Sometimes, it's just a strange peace in the middle of chaos. And knowing that, even if you don't know where the road leads, you are being moved with purpose. This level of change asks for more than just insight, it asks for action. And that's where self-help practices become sacred tools rather than chores. Small steps matter. When you begin to honor your body with warm water, nourishing vitamins, or even a few minutes of stillness each morning, you are sending a message to your soul that you're preparing for something meaningful. You're signaling that you're ready to create space not only physically, but energetically for a life that actually fits. Even in your work, the act of writing a goodbye letter just for yourself can be one of the most honest and healing exercises. You may not send it. You may never show it to anyone. But in the act of writing, you make your own needs real again. You claim what has been buried beneath responsibility and expectation. You start separating what is truly yours from what you've carried for others. And when it comes to finances, this transition asks for grounded awareness. Not fear but intentionality. Emotional spending, avoidance, or using money to distract from discomfort won't serve you now. What will serve you is preparation. Create space in your budget for movement literally. Whether that means relocating, resigning, or resetting your life on a new path, you are investing in freedom. And freedom requires readiness. Love, perhaps more than anything, demands clarity. Ask yourself honestly, am I still myself in this relationship? If the answer is no, then the love you're holding on to may be rooted more in memory than reality. Relationships are meant to support your evolution, not demand your extinction. Let that guide you. Above all, remember this: change that comes from soul-level truth rarely asks for permission, but it always offers healing. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply stepping into alignment. And alignment is where the real miracles unfold. So walk slowly if you need to. Take time to feel each part of the release. But don't turn back. What's waiting for you ahead was never meant to be found where you've been. And this time, Libra, you're not just walking, you're being carried by something far greater than fear. Libra, if you're still with me now, that means something in today's message stirred something inside you, something deeper than fear, louder than doubt. And maybe that something is the quiet knowing you've carried for too long, waiting for the right moment to rise. Let this be that moment. You were not called to this video to be a passive listener. You were called because your soul is ready to choose differently. You are not just closing a door, you are stepping through a sacred threshold. And what's on the other side isn't uncertainty. It's liberation. You are not living in repetition anymore. You're not here to relive cycles or shrink to fit the version of yourself others once needed. You're here to create something entirely new, built not on obligation or comfort, but on truth, freedom, and alignment. You don't need to know every step ahead. You only need to trust the one you're being asked to take now. This is your rebirth, Libra, not because everything is fixed or perfect, but because for the first time in a long time, you're choosing to show up for yourself. Not for validation, not for applause, but because the cost of staying small has grown too high. And in your willingness to move forward, you give silent permission for others to do the same. You become a light not just for yourself, but for those still trapped in the dark, waiting for a sign that it's safe to walk away too. You were never meant to carry it all. You were never meant to remain in the same space just to prove your strength. Sometimes the greatest strength is in surrender. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is say, "This no longer serves me," and choose to leave with love. So I ask you now, Libra, as someone who's been walking beside you through every word, every revelation, every inner shift today, what do you choose from here? Will you carry this energy into action? Will you take one small but bold step in the direction of your truth? And most importantly, will you allow your next chapter to be written with intention instead of inertia? If your answer is yes, speak it into the universe. Write it below. Comment, "I am ready to leave. I trust where I'm being led." Let the comment not just be words, but a declaration, your energetic signature etched into this moment of awakening. The more you say it, the more real it becomes. And every person who sees your words may find the strength to say it too. And if this message found you at just the right time, then it means someone else needs it too. So don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with another Libra, someone who's been holding on quietly, waiting for confirmation that it's okay to release what no longer brings them peace. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, because this isn't the end of your journey, it's only the beginning of your alignment. The guidance coming next is designed to walk with you into that new chapter, and you deserve to have that support. Thank you, from the deepest part of my heart, for being here. For showing up. For choosing to heal. You may not realize it yet, but you've already shifted. Something inside you has already changed. And that change, no matter how subtle, is the beginning of your return to yourself. Don't look back. The life waiting for you is too beautiful to miss.